Ferrari has simply observed some other loophole to get Lewis Hamilton on top of things with its machinery, as Lewis Hamilton once more back to the riding seat for Ferrari throughout Pelli Tire, trying out on the circuit of Barcelona. Catalonia ought to Ferrari be pulling off some hints to get Hamilton as equipped as possible for the 2025 season. So whilst Hamilton had a tiny benefit over Ferrari, teammate Charles Lear on this blind tire check. McLaren's Lando Norris led the timings after a quick wake-up run at Ferrari's Fiorano Test Music Hamilton, and teammate Charles Lear traveled to Barcelona for a 3-day check. But the software did not move precisely as intended with Hamilton in the SF23 for the morning session of day. A reversal of the run plan from the first day track movement changed into halted, whilst Hamilton suffered a shunt at turn 12, causing body work and suspension harm, and denying Lear the possibility to finish his deliberate afternoon jogging on the penultimate day. Ferrari reserve Antonio Giovinazzi and driver academy racer Dino Banovic took over at the back of the wheel. However, Lear back to racing along Hamilton on Tuesday, when a 2-day check at the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya were given, began it. Changed into Ferrari's 2024 contender, the SF24 that they used this time, in a Pelli-mandated check because the F1 tire producer worked on their 2026 slick compounds. McLaren's Lando Norris joined the Ferrari duo in Barcelona, riding the MCL 60, and setting the fastest time of 1 minute 15.21 seconds, finishing 159 laps. Hamilton was second in this leaderboard, completing 87 laps, with a first-rate time of 1 minute 15.93%. To Barcelona, Catalunya, Ferrari, and McLaren hired modified variations of their respective demanding situations, with the FIA allowing groups to do away with about 20% of the automobile's downforce for you to hire depict the demanding situations so that it will be constructed under the revised F1 2020 guidelines. New chassis and strength unit restrictions will move into impact in F1 2026, marking one of the sport's maximum sizable felony adjustments to yet the FIA's mule vehicle. Reg Asian state vehicles have to consist of and are restrained to the minimum changes necessary for the purpose of checking out development tires or additives or systems on behalf of the FIA for Destiny Championship seasons, as decided by the FIA. No test parts. Take a look at software or issue modifications will be accepted, which provide any type of statistics to the competitor that is unrelated to the mule automobile check, except specially asked by means of the FIA in different words. Lewis Hamilton is receiving his first taste of Ferrari's most recent Formula One challenger at Barcelona this week, but the automobile had a slightly bizarre sense even for ordinary Ferrari motive force Charles Leclerc, due to the mule car adjustments, although the take a look at could be somewhat used by Ferrari as another possibility to get Lewis Hamilton up to. The market is now not that truthful. That's due to the fact the whole runtime table is determined by means of Pirelli, and neither Ferrari nor the drivers concerned have any precise information in terms of what unique tires they are trying out. And what they are studying. The purpose of this week's check is to assess the maximum latest production trends for 226 tires, in addition to the 3 hardest compounds in the range. The C1, C2, and C3 F1's 2026 tires preserve the modern 18-in rim size, used inside the remaining ground impact generation. However, the front and rear tire dimensions are lowered. The front tire width is being decreased by means of 25 mm, and the rear via 30 mm. They will even have a decreased diameter down from 720 mm to 705 to 710 mm. One of the principal distinctions among this PLLI check and the Ferrari private run remaining week is that it will likely be conducted in a changed version of the SF24, as a part of remaining 12 months' policies. The FIA determined to allow groups to adjust their automobiles to in-shape the downforce and performance levels of the 2026 rivals. This means that downforce for those mules vehicles has been decreased by using approximately 20% notoriously at Aston Martin's initial 2026 Mule automobile. Take a look at closing year. The DRS turned into left open to assist restrict performance in the corners and simulate the future automobile balance at the same time as McLaren has selected to regulate an MCL 60 from 2023 for 2026. Checking out as seen at Paul Ricard closing week, Ferrari has selected to make modifications to their 2024 car so that Hamilton had the opportunity to get familiar with Ferrari's final cars. The MU car rules also kingdom that the usage of the sort of vehicle is not a way for teams to check real 2026 vehicle components. So there is no reason to trust Hamilton, and Leclerc will have a bonus next 12 months, whilst the Mule automobile will not perform precisely like the modern-day machinery, giving Hamilton an accurate indicator of ways far Ferrari's 2024 automobile has progressed. On account that 2023, there could be some value in getting some more kilometers out of it. It's going to allow him to improve his understanding of the electricity unit's characteristics. In addition to cockpit controls and approaches, it's Miles understood that Ferrari also drove its SF23 for a checking out of preceding vehicles TPC session on Tuesday, meaning each drivers had been out before getting behind the wheel of the 2024 car. Pirelli's check with Ferrari and McLaren in Barcelona is the today's in a chain of outings for its 2026 tires. Closing September, Aston Martin performed an initial slick check evaluation. Take a look at and grader these days. Mercedes and Alpine performed wet tire checks at Minori in October and November. Closing week, McLaren assisted with wet tire improvement at Paul Ricard. Following the Barcelona, take a look at Alpine, and Mercedes will adopt the following slick tire. Take a look at for 1 day each on February 12th and 13th, without Pine and Williams staying on after the Bahrain preseason check for additional 2026 assessment. The one's tests will undoubtedly assist out PLLI, however it has for certain. Additionally, helped Ferrari in a manner as it had a couple of opportunities to offer Hamilton a hazard to drive a Ferrari earlier than the professional start of the season, and because the countdown to the debut of the new Ferrari unmarried seater continues, with the disclosing slated for February 19th, the day after F1 show in London. Let's dive into the details of the upcoming Ferrari Challenger and Hamilton's first actual Ferrari F1 vehicle. Today, the Maranello Group found out the call of the 677 version vehicle SF25. The kind of term used inside the preceding 2 years will consequently hold, while F175 was selected in 2022 to commemorate Ferrari's 75th anniversary. Here's a précis of what we realized to this point approximately. The unmarried cater that Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton will pilot the first great new feature on the auto could be the frame shade that is a darker crimson than the SF24. The preview we provided to you at the start of January has received more than one confirmations, starting with the coloration of the new driving forces Dunger, which Ferrari has already revealed in current days. Even the short movie launched to announce the auto's call carries a extensively extra colorful red in the historical past, albeit it falls quick of the amaranth hue displayed in 2020 at the Maranello Group's 1000th F1 Grand Prix. The increase within the minimum weight, which this 12 months climbed from 798 to 800 kg, will also allow for less patches of seen carbon than in preceding seasons. Whilst this technique became more and more famous, this must enhance the general fashion of the livery, which guarantees to be greater bold than inside the beyond. On this regard, any other clue may additionally come from the driving forces uniforms, which consist of numerous white inlays of path. The SF75 will encompass extra than just new style features. The 6737 model will include a new concept with a purpose to exchange 99% of its components, making them greater excessive within the maximum apparent places, and tweaked in the least seen. The new features will frequently have an effect on the front each in terms of suspension and aerodynamics, as we mentioned in earlier films, but will even encompass a brand new suspension within the rear. So will this permit Lewis Hamilton to win his 8th title? What do you think? Let me understand your thoughts inside the remarks down under.